Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 114 of the Sim Racing Show. And this week, Le Mans Ultimate has had undeniably one of its biggest weeks since launch. But the biggest attention of that, to be honest, came from community backlash rather than the positive announcements that Motorsport Games wanted people discussing. Because a brand new ranked racing feature immediately sparked massive discussion and actually forced the developers into a rapid U-turn. So has Motorsport Games avoided its biggest mistake yet? Or should that feature never have existed in the first place? We'll break it down for you, but also Le Mans Ultimate has finally revealed its first US track pack, bringing Daytona and Laguna Seca, and I've tested it early already. Meanwhile, NASCAR 26 has finally received a release date while promising to fix some of the biggest complaints from last year's game. And Wreckreation 2, can you believe it, is already in development with the developers making a surprise change direction. I've been involved, I'm going to let you know all about it. More news as well. Some exciting hardware news. Now, Motorsport Games managed to annoy, let's be honest, a lot of the sim race community by announcing a Joker system for Le Mans Ultimate. And the reason people reacted so strongly is simple. In ranked sim racing, ratings only work if everyone races under the same rules and the same consequences. So their original idea was that Race Control Pro and Pro Plus subscribers would be able to remove the safety rating and driver rating impact from one solo race every 10 races, so 10% of the time. And immediately a lot of sim racers saw the problem, not because the idea of this kind of like forgiveness is automatically terrible, because if you do get disconnected, taken out by someone else, or have your race ruined through no fault of your own, you can understand why people would want some kind of safety net. The problem, or one of the problems, was putting that safety net behind a subscription, a paid subscription, because the second that paying players can protect their rating in a way that free players cannot, it starts to feel like competitive fairness is being sold to the highest bidder. And in ranked racing, that's a very dangerous line to walk. And a lot of people also worried about abuse. If you have a bad race, use a Joker. Didn't practice enough? Use a Joker. Take someone out and have your own race ruined? Use a Joker. Even if only a small number of people used it that way, the fear was that it would weaken the whole point of safety rating and driver rating, a system that, let's be honest, has come from iRacing. And it wasn't just about the number of Jokers, 10%, the 1 in 10, it was the principle, because ranked racing needs trust. If people start feeling in the same race like ratings for different drivers can be managed differently depending on who pays, then the system loses credibility very quickly. Now, to their credit, Motorsport Games did react fast. They changed the plan so Jokers are no longer a subscriber-only benefit. Instead, all players will be able to earn them, with 3 Jokers now over 60 races. That's a much better version of the idea. People can still debate whether Jokers should exist at all, but at least it's not locked now behind Race Control Pro and Pro Plus. So yes, the original rollout was badly judged, but the U-turn does matter. Motorsport Games have now removed the paywall. Let me know what you think of the Joker system in the comments. But now some good news for Le Mans Ultimate, because the first US track pack finally has a date and a price, and this is where LMU starts getting really interesting beyond just a WEC bubble, because part 1 of the US track pass arrives on July 28th alongside the wider V1.4 update, and it includes Daytona International Speedway and Laguna Seca. It's a strong start. Daytona brings obviously massive American endurance identity, and Laguna Seca is one of those circuits people will always want in a serious sim, and obviously it's just gone pay to include in iRacing. Now, talking of pay to include, the full US track pass would include 6 laser scan circuits across 3 parts. Each part costs $19.99, or you can get the full 3-part pass for $44.99. I'm going to say it. That's a lot of money. Like, that's a huge amount of money. That's more than the base game costs. So Le Mans Ultimate is no longer just the base game. Le Mans Ultimate is now a paid DLC machine. And if I'm the only person saying that, fair enough. But I want to call that out a little bit. Now, 4 of the tracks have not been formally announced, but we all know the direction here. LMU is already trying to expand the game from just WEC into a much bigger endurance racing platform. And it's what the game needs. It does need more regions, more circuits, more variety, and more reasons to keep people comparing it to iRacing, endurance racing, and comparing Le Mans Ultimate favourably. Now, the US track's not the only part of version 1.4, because Le Mans Ultimate is also adding 2 updated hypercars for free, the 2026 Alpine A424 and the 2026 Cadillac V Series R. Again, another good move, because if LMU wants to be the endurance sim, over iRacing, it needs to keep the current grid up to date. There's also multiplayer improvements coming. Cars that sit stationary for too long will be sent back to garage automatically, so no avoiding those cars every lap, and it should just stop more collisions happening, which may cause issues again with people's safety rating, and maybe why they brought out the Joker. Speaking of safety rating Jokers, there is also an improved protest system that can be accessed directly from race replays, which should make reporting incidents more practical. I'm worried that the team, they might get overwhelmed with reports, but let's see. And there's also a new brake heating system, which should make braking behaviour more realistic and more consistent, especially in prototype categories. Now, next we're going to talk about NASCAR 26. Before that, I want to say a big thank you to GT Omega, who have sponsored this week's sim racing show. You can see the inertia bucket seat behind me, and I'm actually sitting on a GT Omega seat, but the cockpit that you can't really see is the GT Omega Prime light, and that's running my SimuQ 2 Pro and Active pedals. So if you're looking for a new sim rig or an upgraded sim rig, go check out GT Omega and use my code Kireth5 at checkout for an extra 5% off. Now, NASCAR 26 has a proper release date, and iRacing Studios are starting to show a bit more of what they want to improve this time around. Pre-orders open pretty soon on July 29th, with the full game launching on September 18th. There's also a gold edition arriving a few days earlier on September 15th, although we still do not know exactly what extras that version includes. The interesting part is that iRacing have started talking about the areas they're trying to fix from the previous game, so things like track rubbering, AI cars actually being able to DNF, and changes to the track cut penalty system, which badly needed work. And that's really the key with NASCAR 26, because the license is obviously strong, the audience is massive in the USA, and NASCAR deserves a proper modern game. But iRacing Studios need to show that this is not just like a lick of paint, a yearly update. It needs to be more complete, more believable, and have that iRacing DNA. It's interesting talking about Le Mans Ultimate and iRacing, because remember, Motorsport Games had the license for NASCAR and they messed it up. They had the license for IndyCar and they messed it up. And now it's iRacing that's brought out the NASCAR game and is bringing out the IndyCar game as well. But are iRacing taking their eye off the ball of the main product, which is iRacing, and our Le Mans Ultimate like really concentrating on the core product? Quite interesting. Now, this one's a bit of a surprise because Wreckreation 2 is already in development, despite the first game not exactly taking the world on fire less than a year ago. It's been developed by When Tides Turn, seems to be pretty much the same people, they're former Criterion people, and they're going all in on the big open world idea from the first game. To be honest, having played Wreckreation 1, having reviewed it, having been on some calls with the team for Wreckreation 2, I'm still not sure that they fully understand what the appeal of Burnout was. Burnout came out at a time where you had licensed tracks on your disc for the first time. A lot of it was about like local multiplayer. It was exciting, it was kind of edgy, and I just don't think those games are going to be as popular these days. Many arcade racing games have done a good job and failed, let's be honest, to really capture the imagination, like Screamer, but let's see what Wreckreation 2 is going to do. And massive hardware news, because on July 28th, MOZA are doing a big showcase, and if rumours are to be believed, we might see stuff like the R5 Pro and also the MOZA motion system being unveiled properly. Keep an eye on my channel for some content on that if it happens, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more from the Sim Racing Show. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.